My name is Hassan. I'm a senior artist at Bethesda Game Studios, and I'm also head of department for modeling at CG Spectrum. I have been working in game industry since 2009. Um, my background is actually math and physics, and I started with computer science and programming. Uh, but and I was born in Iran, so it was back in Iran, and me and two of my friends, Sam and Bezad, we decided to make a game. We were all computer major, doing some graphics programming and stuff. But I was a junior, and they were seniors, and they're like, "Yeah, you got to do the art side of it. You're not gonna do that at this stage." Even though they were 23 and I was 21 ish, I switched to art, and that was it for me. I really love nature, so I decided to focus on environment art. Also, I was not a natural born artist, so I stay away from character and painting and those sort of things. On the environment side, it was more technical and kind of suited what I was looking for. I moved to United States in around 2015, 16-ish. From there, I was mostly working remotely with some outsourcing companies and stuff like that. But then I managed to put together a really nice portfolio, and I got a position at Arcane Studios in Austin, Texas. So I moved to Austin, and then the pandemic happened, and then a few years later, I moved to Colorado. Right now, I'm a senior artist at Bethesda Game Studios. Back in 2010-ish in Iran, we didn't have any art school designed for to teach 3D modeling or um, even digital art in general. So we had fine art, which I was not interested in, and but I always played games, so I wanted to make games anyways. But the closest thing to it was computer science and programming. So I went into the direction of software engineer, um, but when you're making an indie game, you if you need to learn something, you got to learn that. So right now, a lot of what we teach and a lot of what we work is more focused on one discipline, which is great because you can start with that and you're pretty sure that that's the way that you want to go. I didn't have that opportunity, so I had to explore different areas. To me, it's all the same. To be honest, the fundamentals of learning something is the same, whether you're learning math or art, which sounds weird, but to me, it's all the same. Once you learn how to learn, it's going to be the same thing. But I'm self-taught because we didn't have the opportunity. However, uh, once we get a little bit ahead in Iran, there was a video game institution, and I started teaching there. I always loved teaching because of my path and how hard it was to learn by yourself, because there's a lot of wasted time. You learn something, it's not the correct path, correct workflows. So I've always been active in trying to help the new generation coming up with all right, do this because it's going to get you to where you want faster, and then if you want to explore, there's always room later on once you're in and you're making money. So yeah, but I had to learn everything myself. It was not seen as a real job to make a game back when we started. So, but we were still students, so it was kind of like, okay, you want to try something for fun, go ahead and do that. But the moment we got funded and we pitched our game and we got funded, that was the moment that I felt like, okay, this is now serious because we have to run a company, we have to pay people money. So there was a lot of things that I had to learn about money management and admin work and all that stuff, which is not even related to game art. But those really helped me to know how to make a game in general. So I've been benefiting from all that experience, even now. In the US, going through the process of getting a work visa was very challenging. But after getting the visa, and I remember the moment that I went for an interview at Arcane Studios, and I was sitting in a room, and I was talking to my colleagues who are now my colleagues. Back then, they were the interviewers, and then one of the groups were the directors of Arcane Austin. And I remember the moment that Harvey Smith, one of the legendary game designers from Dishonored and Deus Ex games, he walked in, and that moment I will never forget. That he was, in my mind, the best game designer ever. And he walked in, and he shook my hand and sat down and started asking me a question. I was like, "Holy shit! This is really happening." But anything before that, right now, feels like it was all building up to that moment that I get my position at Bethesda, and back then Arcane Studios. It was a very memorable moment for sure. Because of my background, I tend to focus on my own portfolio. The industry itself goes into um, downtime, uptime, downtime, uptime. And I've been getting a lot of question about that actually recently, about, well, the current state of the industry with a lot of studios shutting down, layoffs and things like that, AI coming up, and there are tons of different things every day. You open, X, and there's a lot of news. To me, growing up in a country that we didn't even have an industry, and I was going for something that was not even there, you're shooting a target that is not even there. So I, it wasn't just me, of course, it was our generation that we had to make a target, make a gun, practice the shooting, and then shoot the target. So we had to start from basically zero. To me, this sounds like, okay, the industry goes into up and down, but you have to focus on your own work, because we've had that before. You look at the precedent in this industry. We have that in 80s. We've had that, of course, in 95 ish. There was a really bad time for games, and then we had the dot-com crash in 2000s, and then we had 2008 with the whole world going burning down, and now we get another one. But it's always going to be like this, and that's the cycle that we have been there, and we're going to have. It's going to get fixed, and we're going to have another one, probably, hopefully not, but this has been the history. So to me, I would love to talk with my students about focus on your own work, focus on what you can achieve, and focus on your own portfolio, because everything else is a noise. You either don't have any control over it, or you just don't know enough about it. You think that it's going to have a major impact, but what if it doesn't, and you just wasted a lot of time that you cannot get back, not focusing on your own work. So set a goal, and that goal can be a studio, it can be a certain artist that you aspire, and try to get to there, and just ignore any noise, shut down everything. And again, it's not going to be easy, but that's the only way that has worked for me, and just try to get there no matter what. As a senior artist, you're usually working with your other colleagues, which they are seniors. You're working with art directors. The expectation is high in terms of the quality of art, the benchmark, and also the time it takes to wrap a project, which doesn't mean that you've worked faster. It means that you make better decisions. if you're working in office, it's probably, I would say, a bit easier because you just go there, work and shut down a computer and come back. If you're working remotely, which I am currently working remotely, you start by syncing your project with the latest updates. You check your calendar for a bunch of meetings you probably have, and you have a task in hand, and you have to be very proactive about what you're doing, because you can just keep doing what you're doing, and all of a sudden you feel like, okay, I was left behind because there were other decision making. So you have to be very proactive with communication. The most important part to me is, usually when you're in heat of production, people get fall behind in terms of what is new in the industry. So to me, the hardest part is to keep up with the industry while you're working 8-10 hours a day, and then you have to put in another hour or two if you can to see what's going on in the industry, keep updating yourself, keep your skills sharp, I guess, with new software and all of that. No matter how many years you work in the industry, there are still days that you feel like, no, am I am I good at this? What am I doing? So there are, you still get days like that you feel like, um, you why do these people trust me to do this thing? But the next day you realize why, because you spend a little bit of time, and so you get those feelings every now and then. I don't love modeling. I love making games. I do modeling because it's fun to create something from nothing. But my passion is games. I love making games, and I love the problem solving part of it. The fact that there is the performance side to it, there's the technical side to it. It's very fun because you're always pushing the quality versus the performance, and you have to always keep in mind that you don't want to, you want your game to run on Xbox, let's say, or PlayStation. So that's very challenging and very fun for me to solve those problems. Um, but the interactive side of video game is something that I really, really love. The fact that I see, the work that I've made, you not only see it on screen, but people can really experience it. People can interact with it. They can move around the environment and find something, a secret pathway, or they can find all of that stuff and enjoy the beauty of their. And sometimes I just log into Twitch to see when people playing, our games, and their reactions to, oh my God, this is beautiful, or they find, it's really fun when you place, say, a cover wall somewhere for the player to hide behind and take cover and shoot, and then when they find it and they do it, and they'll say, holy shit, that saved my life. And that's really, I really enjoy the feeling that it is interactive, and um, people have a feeling towards it.